give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty. I broke all the cages, no, I won't sit and take it, no, no. They left me for dead, I guess I'll never learn. Every time I break, there's just more pain to burn. They'll never, never, never learn. Till the battle's won, till kingdom come. I'll never run. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty. A place where you can run free. Time does not exist. Take a chance when the road before us falls under our face. I can't hold on, I can't remain so strong. We have the same old bond, but everything is wrong. My love is gone, but I've been born. I can't make it on my own. When I'm alone, my love is gone. I The truth is a damn hard pill to swallow. I'm reaching out, but all I feel is hollow. I wanna make you work, but all I do is make you worse. The truth is a damn hard pill to swallow.
lost track of time, don't know how to feel, but I'm not sorry. I'm lost in your eyes, are you even real? But don't you worry, I'm not looking for the one, no, I just wanna have some fun. So let's get drunk tonight, 'cause fuck how we feel. But for now, I won't give it all away, 'cause I don't think I'll stay.
see, baby, I never say forever to the light.
Wildcats responding, and I'm excited to see now because it feels like at least comfort on both sides, and it's just a case of who can really enact their game plan better.
Absolutely, and I think Holy Phoenix has got to be a carry that, regardless of the amount of bans thrown into him, you're still happy with the Tristana into the Jhin. You're able to jump on top of him. He's not really able to plant his feet and get those long-range engages going for him. Hence why we see the Alistar as a bit of a combo back.
Yeah, and I think this is where it's going to get interesting for Aegis, because it's like, oh, okay, well, Tristana and Nautilus will have that early push, levels 1 to 3. You'll expect the same coming through from the Ahri, so you actually could end up with this Viego having at least decent control where he can try and enact some early pressure mid into bot lane as well, like get Holy Phoenix up and running.
The teams are locked. The coaches have shaken hands, or the equivalent of nowadays, and this is... honestly, a lot of your MSIs are relying on this. Like, this is going to be your moment for both of these sides. If PSG Talon, and even then, we still have to see if PSG Talon can, revive themselves and come back in. But if you can go 2-0 as the Red Canids, that is massive in this group. Because, again, RNG most likely going to be number 1, probably going to be going undefeated unless someone else gets very lucky. This could be the definitive matchup that tells whether or not you're going to Rumble or you're going home.
Yeah, and I mean, look, even just regional pride as well coming into this for TCL. We said already, this is a team that definitely wants to push into the upper echelons, move on towards Rumble, but Red Cannon's going to see if they can try and play the upset here. And right now, both teams linking up. I mean, Red Cannon's looking like they're getting prepared for some sort of invade.
Chitan just going to walk forward, finds Holy Phoenix, and like ships in the night, they just tip their hats and off they go again. So both teams setting themselves up. I would say definitely Red a little bit more on the hyper defensive side on that one particular thing. But of course, when you do this kind of coverage, it means you don't have an idea of where the enemy wards are going. You're not going for the full flat out. You're going to have to try and figure out what information the enemy team has.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty all right here. There's no real deep vision coming through from Istanbul Wildcats because they didn't actually spot out where Red were, so they didn't try and go for some sort of play themselves. So both junglers going to at least be able to hide their starts if they want to. And for Ferret, I think it's going to be pretty nice that you don't have this pressure coming through from Aegis in the early stages. As we said, push mid, push bot, that should lend yourself pretty nicely to just being able to farm up and get through the early stages where Aegis isn't in your face trying to bully you out of the jungle.
See now, both junglers starting on the top side of the map, so they will be pathing downwards. And this is something, obviously, we've talked about the history and how this whole thing's been setting up. We never really got to see how this early game is actually going to shape up, what we're expecting to see for the first few minutes of this game, and who do we think actually has an advantage coming into the 5-10 minutes?
I mean, I give it to Istanbul Wildcats. I think you've got, as you said, priority bot mid. You can start to link up with Ferret then, see if you can make a play on towards Bremtar in the mid, and then start to lean that pressure into bot side. And it suddenly becomes really tough for Cheetah and Jojo in this matchup to actually have that control. Even at the moment, right, getting this push onto the bot side, Farfetch and Holy Phoenix won't hit the level 2 first, but they can kind of hold this wave just in front of their tower and set up something for Istanbul Wildcats in these early stages if you want. But I mean, kind of across the board, honestly, Istanbul Wildcats allowing themselves to be pushed in.
I will say for the hour, it is kind of hard for her to deal with the Galio's push initially for the first level or so. You get the Winds of War, and of course that auto attack passive does incredible work to try and just thin out those minions. And I'm curious about this Mordekaiser versus Camille matchup. This is, in my head, very reminiscent of the old school, Darius versus Fiora, where it was kind of like depending a various skill matchup of who hits what and when.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, Starscreen honestly should just have a good amount of control after these initial stages where he gets the shield, he isn't mana reliant, so can continuously trade, he's able to heal it back up, and it's why Mordekaiser becomes such a pain to deal with in the lane. Even trying to get ganks off can be tough, but as you can see, I mean, with push being given mid and bot, Aegis just getting in the face of Ferret. This is why I was kind of surprised to see them give so much space.
And we are going to see them pushing back in. This is the push and pull we were talking about, and there's the healing coming out there from Starscreen. So top lane and jungle both being heavily contested right now.
Yeah, but Ferret, as you can see in the jungle, is actually the one that's kind of winning out. He just tries to go for this invade, doesn't really get it off, doesn't steal any of the raptors, and now he's got to retreat back to his own side of the jungle. So giving a little bit of space here for Ferret where he can actually look for a quick reset, get back on the map faster, and maybe look to make some plays happen.
Now we will see Starscreen just sustain himself up, get himself back out onto pushing this lane. TP coming out here for Guigo. It's going to be a Cole, so they've already kind of accepted, look, this is just how it's going to be. We're going to be able to try and go for big all-ins only when we're level 6, so might as well get some extra early gold while it's happening.
Yeah, but Guigo has been absolutely insane on this Camille, so I'm excited to see what he can do, especially with Grevtar in the back line as well to follow up with them. You end up, Guigo's Camille has been back 63% of the time against Red Cannons when they're in the CB laws, so certainly a pick he's incredibly comfortable on. And when you get to that late game, you've got good push for sides, you've got the opportunity to try and like play some sort of 1-3-1, but what I really like about the way Red play their mid game is like they'll very quickly collapse onto 2 lanes and look for picks, and it feels like with Grevtar on this Galio, well, he can play towards Guigo, he can play towards mid, and they'll like sack a Terra and bot lane for it, but they'll quickly accumulate these gold leads and then they can just en masse push you out of the way.
Well, don't forget to grab your exclusive Scare Prize Prime Gaming emote so you can strut when you flash in, turn around a fight. I was going to try and interrupt you during that whole thing, but I decided
I'm not gonna lie, it's not, I don't know if there was a sound, it wasn't very loud in my ears.
I didn't hear anything.
I was like, yeah, so
I didn't hear anything at all. I was kind of hoping there'd be a bit more like
I'm terrified of this tiny banner coming up. I was like, oh my god, green.
This slow rising banner. I was expecting more of like a ba-doom, and then I was like, maybe it's only on broadcast side. Oh well, it didn't work. Trevor, I failed you. But coming back obviously into this and coming out, looking at how this is kind of working out, both teams are kind of seeing it. We already see an early rotation coming out here from JoJo. So Red trying to make something work in this top side.
Yeah, I really like this. I mean, just the fact that you're able to, well, actually, Cheeton forced the flash on the bot side. I was going to say, you need actually to make sure that you're not getting dove underneath this tower, because I mean, this is a really strong composition for diving. You're going to trade both sides.
I mean, they're going to put Grevtar up here as well. He's only level 5, but he's got himself the Predator. They're going to try and jump in onto the Mordekaiser before he hits level 6 and knock him down. JoJo tanking up the turret, but he finally gets himself out. Far gets exhausted. It's first blood already over to the side of the Red Cannons, but they will trade it back. That took an awful long time to set up, and it just felt a little bit scrappy.
Well, I mean, you trade 1 for 1 in top, but the real problem is Cheeton's lost so much in the bot lane. His flash was burnt as Farfetch and Holy Phoenix jumped on top of him. Now you're getting this massive wave loss. You're getting turret plates into Holy Phoenix as well. Like, this is what Istanbul Wildcats want, to get Holy Phoenix to a place where he can carry, and right now it's looking pretty damn good.
That was, again, like you said, we talked about this in draft as well, is that yes, Tristana was the last of many lists of champions that were banned away, but you have such great all-in, specifically with the Nautilus as well. You have so many ways of just getting on top of this Jhin. You cannot just rest in your laurels, and already we're seeing, as we look at the replay on the top side, that there's going to be summoners burnt.
Yeah, I mean, you have 4 members here. Doesn't really work out. It was a really good pull coming through from Starscreen on the top side, just to make sure that he could actually like delay this as much as possible. But Saren and Verret, we're in a really good spot here to actually turn this around. And as you're saying, like, bot lane is the real issue here. This Tristana gets so much alone time with the tower. You can already see the gold has already given that Noon Quiver across to Holy Phoenix, and late game, like, Holy Phoenix is going to be in such a good spot, and as long as he can kind of stay away from the engages from Guigo, I mean, he can carry this game.
And Guigo is starting to accumulate a pretty sizable lead up on that top side. We can already see it's about a 400 gold lead, so nothing exceptional. It is very much top side focused, but on the other side of that, we are looking at Saren, who's got himself a kill, 20 CS. He's up about 1,000 gold. So it is going to be about where these resources go and when either of these teams utilize them. Because at the end of the day, it's all well and good having a fed Camille, but if they're off on a side lane, you're not really getting the most value out of it.
This does feel like, though, we're kind of going back towards a little bit of a slower pace for both these teams, right? Because Istanbul Wildcats, at least in playoffs, were super active, but during the regular split, we didn't actually see them going for a huge amount of these early plays, instead playing for those mid-game advantages. We saw the same from Red Cannons, and yes, we get one play at least from Red Cannons, but it hasn't been these like crazy active early games that we'd started to come to expect, at least from Red yesterday, and also when you look towards Istanbul Wildcats in playoffs.
All right, no dragon been taken yet. Rift Howl has just spawned, and both teams starting to hit some big level 6s. Ferret going to start off Shelly right now. They will know what's going on, but don't really have the priority. You can see already Chi-Chan was a little bit late on the rotation, but this could be a full 5v5. Might be a little bit too late. Yeah, Red have already decided, look, we're way too late on this rotation. We're just going to charge in back bot side, at least trade back something.
Yeah, you are getting the reset here from Aegis, so maybe he looks to try and move down into this bottom side, especially if you can get like push with Grevtar in mid. Maybe look for a play with the ultimate from Grevtar to bot, because right now, honestly, the Galio hasn't had a real chance to get much happening. Did roam up towards the top side, but gets caught out with Saren because you're trying to play off of minimal priority in the mid lane. maybe now if you can get this wave shoved out, you can actually look for a dive onto this bot lane with the mass waves that's coming through.
Saren was low on mana, but is going to be able to pick up that blue buff nice and handy and get that trade-off going for us. And we are going to see the Umbral Glaive coming out here for Aegis. So he's going to be very, very powerful at just controlling areas like we talked about earlier. And just a very cheap item in general for him to be able to pick up.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredibly potent item, but unfortunately for Red, right? Like, you're kind of looking going, okay, well, Revtar, not really going to be a big carry in the later portion of the game. Cheaton as well, like, Jhin isn't exactly your major carry. You are looking towards Guigo, and right now Guigo does have a good advantage for himself, but when you look at how many threats are on Istanbul Wildcats, you kind of need to get these side lanes rolling. You need to make sure you're getting these towers down to enable Guigo in a side lane. Like, let Revtar make these plays happen, but with the priority that Istanbul Wildcats have been able to get across these lanes, they just haven't been able to make any of these plays stick.
We go on. Go and wait to see where the big play will come from. We have seen a little bit of movement on bot side, specifically from the side of Istanbul Wildcats. And of course, Red went for that dive in the top, but it is going to be curious to see how everyone kind of pets it up. We can see all the deadly flourishes being cleared out here by Farfetch. He gets himself moved back onto the lane with his AD carry. And this is, again, a very slow start to the game. Only about 250 gold difference. Ferret is sitting on a ward. He's not aware of it.
Yeah, but I mean, look, this is fine for Ferret, though, because all he wants to do is get this lane pushed in. Make sure you can't have that play that we're talking about where you end up with Aegis down in this bot side, because realistically, Istanbul Wildcats don't feel pressure. I mean, you got a Viego, a Tristana, like, you're totally fine playing for these late game 5v5s, so it's more going to be on Aegis to try and make something happen, or at least get Guigo far enough ahead where he can be a threat in the side lane. But at the moment, like, a 15 CS lead is nice and all, but it's not too big of an issue.
No, the Dragon's going to be going over to the side of Istanbul Wildcats. It's going to be the Rift Herald as well as the Dragon, unless the Red Canids feel like they can contest it. Smite comes in, double knock-up as we get the Smash Pulverize coming in. They're going to try and trade this one back. Holy Phoenix trying to see if he can save his support, but it was all for naught. They don't know exactly where he went because they have no vision. And those shots shall go wide. But they get the Dragon, but they do have to trade it for a kill.
Yeah, one kill going back over in favor of Cheaton is going to be relatively nice. We're going to try and get this push in the bot side, but Holy Phoenix is already moved to mid, so he's covering Saren, who's actually in the bottom side. So all said and done, still kind of even when you look at just the Dragon going over versus just that one kill.
I see straight away a Rylai's Crystal Scepter here for Mordekaiser. And again, Mordekaiser is just trying to be a mitigator for that Camille and then isolate a priority target in those team fights. So he's not really going to be building for quote-unquote team fights. He's literally going to be building for, effectively what he does, a 1v1.
Yeah, but also just to slow the engages coming through as well, right? Because if you have a lot of ways of propping the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, but we just see here, unfortunately, Grevtar a little bit late on the knock-up, so Holy Phoenix is able to get the rocket jump away, and then they assume Holy Phoenix is starting to walk back into his own jungle, but he's actually just going mid to take the wave. So at least from the get-go, you're pretty all right with the way things are panning out here as Istanbul.
We got double Umbral coming in here for, sorry, I find the amusement in some of the weirdest things. Just have to find my own.
So this is where we got to have a conversation. Because are we just going to accept that it's Umbral Graves, or are we going to go Umbral Glaives Graves? Because that becomes really tough.
It is.
Yes.
Well, you did your tongue twisters before we went live.
Yeah, and then I felt miserably trying to say it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It boded
you
not
need to
so
change
well.
your tongue twisters, as we can see now. A little bit of a twist happening in this fight. We get the Rift Herald popping down, but it's ways away from the turret. And that's just going to be a failed objective. Flash has to come here from Aegis, as he knows if that charm or that hook lands, he is a dead man. We're fighting around the Dragon pit. There's no Dragon to take.
Yeah, but I mean, you stopped the play in mid, so you're pretty happy here. So able to move back down now towards this bottom side. Ferret just trying to see if he can establish vision so that then Holy Phoenix can start to take these turrets. And I think this is where you'll start to see a little bit more control coming through from Saren, where he's able to work with Ferret and just enable Holy Phoenix to take these bot lane turrets. Because, you know, you can see here zoning Red off the bot lane turret, and now Holy Phoenix can decimate this and continue to get more gold in his back pocket. Like, Kraken Slayer, way more expensive than an Umbral Glaive, so Holy Phoenix feeling pretty good about himself right now.
Jojo, he's kind of lost by himself. They'll get the teleport out, and they're just going to walk away. That was so well done. They knew that the teleport was available. They said, look, we're going to bait this out and immediately back up.
Yeah, and now you just get Saren to push in mid, so kind of playing off Fog of War there. They get the push, and they should be able to get another turret play for themselves. And Istanbul Wildcats, I mean, this is completely different from what we saw against them against RNG yesterday. They look so much more confident and playing this so well.
And controlled as well. They're just making right decisions. They're not being forced. I think that's the big thing to see right now is that, yes, during the RNG game yesterday, it's RNG. They are going to force you into bad situations, into you have to choose one or the other. You don't get to choose both. Whereas in this game, they are definitely having a lot more time to figure out what way they want to approach it.
And if there is a team coming from the TCL to try and put your fade in, like, it feels like this is the team, right? You've got Saren, who has been an incredibly strong mid laner in the TCL. You're looking at Holy Phoenix, was 6 TCL titles. He's got 1 MSI and 1 Worlds appearance as well. You know, as the desk was talking about that 2014, where he had actually kind of came on and exploded onto the world stage with Dark Passage back in the day. And now we've got to see if Istanbul Wildcats can live up to what has been such a good point for them.
Well, we are going to see the Rift Tile being started by Aegis. He's going to try and just get himself over the wall real quick, but the full-on engage going to be coming in. The Galio ult has been committed as well. There's going to be the Mordekaiser isolating out Jojo. Not really the target you want as Saren's off on the backside of this. It's kind of 2 fights right now. Starscream picks up his bounty. He gets all those extra nummy stats, and then they can continue the fight. Istanbul Wildcats, despite them losing their jungler, still come out on top.
And that was such a good play as well. This is actually something that you see a lot over in like North America, right? When Impact was playing this Mordekaiser, he would oftentimes pick out the support because it prevents the follow-up engage, prevents so much more of this damage from coming through in the CC front. And you can see there Starscream kind of lending himself from that as well. Take the support out of the equation, give that the little bit of back room towards Istanbul Wildcats.
This is the long-range engage. Saren going to have a flash away and should be able to get out with safety, but good opportunistic moves here from Grevtar and of course Cheetan.
And now Holy Phoenix just being moved around the map to pick up all the lovely gold. And this is where you start to get a little bit nervous as Red Canids, because as you said, we already said, right, like, they have the opportunity to try and play through side lanes, but this is a team that is a one shot and done. You dive in onto the back line, Cheetan trying to hit from range, Guigo trying to burst out people with Grevtar, but if you're falling behind, you're not able to do that. Istanbul Wildcats just have so many damage threats, it becomes really tough to carry these fights.
It really, really does, and you can see now the pressure has been put onto them right now. You can see Starscreen moving over. That's a significant chunk of damage going there onto the Mordekaiser, and it is going to be Istanbul Wildcats pushing forward and saying, look, we know we're stronger right now. You can't actually fight us right now. You don't have your big ultimates. You don't have the Hero's Entrance, and you don't have the Hextech Ultimatum.
You don't have the Jhin. Jhin is up on the top side, whereas all members of Istanbul Wildcats were down around this dragon. So already 2 of these objectives set up, and for Red Canids it's starting to become a little bit tough. And they haven't had the opportunity to really get control of the game, see if they can make plays with Grevtar, try and work around Guigo. So at the moment, it's kind of looking like Istanbul Wildcats setting up well for these big 5v5s, for this powerful mid game, which is what we saw from them in the TCL.
Very, very powerful showing right now. 2,000 gold lead, 2 dragons as well. There is a second Rift Herald available, but they're just funneling gold into Holy Phoenix. Because again, like you said, Tristana is still a hyper carry. Tristana will melt towers the longer this game goes on.
I mean, if you have a crit build that's keeping pace with a lethality build, you're feeling pretty happy it's Holy Phoenix. And especially when you get towards that 3rd item of the Infinity Edge, like, Holy Phoenix is going to be huge. And we already kind of talked about the ability to carry on these fights so well with the reset between, you know, the ults coming through from the Ahri, the Viego, and just the jump resets for the Tristana. Like, it feels like you just never escape as Red Canids if you end up in these fights.
And the thing is, yeah, you got the second Rift Herald, but there's no plate, so you need to get a tower out of that in order to equal out any kind of real significant advantage. And now that you've seen the Red Canids go bot lane, you can rotate mid.
But Red Canids are trying to collapse on this. Grevtar is sacking that top wave to see if he can jump onto Istanbul Wildcats.
Here we go. They're going to do just that. There's a Hextech Ultimatum coming in. They're going to have the ultimate as well. And that is Holy Phoenix deleted. Nothing he can do. Starscreen goes into the Death Realm, trying to take down Guigo as he's doing his very, very best. The charm will land there onto the the Galio, but he comes back out and immediately gets deleted out of the distance. Out of nowhere, Red just called the play.
And that's exactly what we talked about for Red Cannons. They've been so good at just very quickly playing off of two lanes, sacking one side of the map to go, right, we're going to jump in, we're going to get these big leads, and we're going to get more after we kill you, and then enter onto the map. And that is so much gold that now has gone over in favor of Red Cannons. That gold is now in touching distance, and they don't even lose out on that much top because the wave couldn't be pushed in by the Mordekaiser. You can see it here, right? Grevtar says, screw topside, we're going for the play. Holy Phoenix is deleted. Oh, just gone instantly. And because you don't have that damage, and Red Cannons were able to get here first, they can actually pull back, play towards their strengths, and catch out Starscreen as he tries to kill Guigo.
Guigo almost falling down in that death realm, but as soon as he doesn't die, the Mordekaiser is in the middle of 5 people. Yeah, honestly, same. It's just kind of a bit of a strange one right there. And it just felt like Istanbul Wildcats were just getting a little too complicit, a little too comfortable with that fight, and they just weren't respecting the big 5v5.
It's just the engage tools that Red Cannons have you have to be so careful of, especially if you are Holy Phoenix. Like, I can understand them kind of leaning towards the bottom side of the map because they had a ton of vision. They just didn't expect the how quickly Red Cannons can follow up on Guigo. So we'll have to see now if they are going to change their tuning just a little bit, with them pushing in mid. Rift Herald is on bot side. You got to have at least another member here for Istanbul Wildcats to try and push against this as 3 members go towards the mid lane.
Yeah, you got Shelly coming down. Very disappointed that she did not get her head bop off, so she's going to go and try again. But this is a bit of a trade on the map right now, and that's going to mean you're going to see a full engage coming out. There's the Hextech Ultimatum. As Fairda is the target. They will blow him up, and he will be taken out. That's going to be 2 turrets taken. They still have Shelly. They can crack open the base.
And you still haven't got the resets coming through. They're a little bit late, so they are going to be able to crack this open, and it's just cresting the 20-minute mark. So this is bot side inhibitor going down when you have Baron on the cards.
They have Baron on the cards. Starscreen has to go into his ultimate to death realm to try and just keep himself alive, but he's losing this 1v1. And there's a TP coming in as well. Flash from Starscreen, but he's already dead. Now the inhibitor is being focused, and you have 3 versus 5. Red, they take a very early inhibitor. I thought with the TP they might have gotten a little bit more feisty, but they take almost everything they wanted.
Red have been playing this so incredibly well, just realizing, look, we can make these quick collapsing plays on towards the mid. We've got the Herald on the bot side, so we can quickly play the map. It just feels like Istanbul Wildcats have been outpaced here, and Red Cannons are just bringing the game back so incredibly well. They now have the 2k gold lead.
This is just an interesting one. You can see as well, like, yes, you have a cleanse and a flash on Holy Phoenix, but if he can't get away from these people, you just have nothing to do. And this is just straight up, they recognize the resets haven't come in.
Yeah, they're still pushing in mid, and you're like, hang on a second, we've got these great engage tools. Guigo goes in with the Hextech Ultimatum, takes down 1. Starscreen is forced to ult Guigo as well here. But again, I feel like Starscreen really don't want to be ulting the Camille. The Camille can 1v1 you in these scenarios. You can see here, playing it slow, getting that damage through, and you just can't take out Guigo fast enough before you end up popping out of the death realm.
We're on back to live. We can already see there, Red Cannons, they're just feeling a little bit more frisky, feeling a bit better right now, and they're going to be able to start creating opportunities and movements around these dragons and objectives.
And oh, hang on.
Oh, they're going to go in. They're going to see if they can make Grevtar work for this one here. He goes golden after looking a little bit foolish and forced to get Jojo to try and maybe help him out. He's now going to try and return the favor, and this is just all a little bit scrappy, a little bit messy, but at the end of it, no one goes down just yet. We are going to have the heal coming out from Chichan as Aegis is just saying, hey guys, I'm taking the dragon, don't worry about it, but now he's a part of this fight. They will turn this one back around, but it's going to be a trade of supports, and now the fight's getting so all over the place. The shutdown comes down onto the gym, but it will be traded back straight away. Guigo on the top side, Grevtar trying to just coerce everyone here, but a charm lands. This fight is still going, Dagda. There's the death realm coming back into this. Aegis has nowhere to go, and finally, it's still Istanbul Wildcats.
It was really messy from Red to start it off, though. Cannons try to jump in. They end up blowing the key ultimates too early, and Istanbul Wildcats correctly recognize that. They play it slow, they keep Holy Phoenix safe, and they're able to carry themselves through, and now it's another dragon for Istanbul Wildcats. And I was about to say, hey Red, you're in a great spot. You get to stack mountain dragons. You end up having this dive comp that's going to be super beefy. That's great. But they throw the entire thing away.
And this is just, again, look at it. Weird engage. Grevtar kind of panics, realizes he's caught out. I think he's Zanya's because he thought the charm was going to hit him.
Yeah, and that's why you see the engage from Jojo, right? Jojo's like, all right, I got to go in hard because I have to be the one to tank this up with the ultimate, but now you don't have the Alistair ult, you don't have the Galio ult, and it just means that it's super easy to try and follow up on this. And again, like Jojo taken out of the equation before Starscream even needs to ult. Cheetan is in the middle of no man's land here and gets caught out as well. It all just feels very scrappy from Red. The panic button's basically been hit right, left, and center as soon as that initial engage went wrong.
And this is the big problem that we're going to have with a lot of these teams, all these, younger and, slightly, lesser known regions, is that you are on the big stage, and these are big moments. You cannot miss, you cannot step forward in that. It just felt like, again, Grevtar just getting a little bit overhypey and then not really knowing how to cover himself. But we're going to go straight back into the action as he gets the taunt down onto the Nautilus, and he's taken down. That's a good two-man Everfrost to try and get the charm down onto this Gallia, who eventually has a Zanya's back up. Starscream TP's in. Is he going to try and help out his team? It's a 1-for-1. Guigo goes in. Holy Phoenix goes golden as he tries to keep himself alive, but he gets sniped down from the curtain call, and it's all around the place. But at the end of it all, Red Canids still come out on top.
I love these fights. These are so back and forth. There's so many different actions happening all over the place, and you can just about get Holy Phoenix down. Farfetch falls as well in favor of just Grevtar for Red Canids. And thank you for showing us the go grab, because you can see here, this game will not stop. It's so back and forth.
It will not. And they are going to try and just push in this wave. You can see Seren just has the Orb of Deception, keeps everything nice and healthy. Needs to be careful though, he has no charm, and he recognizes now not really a time for him to go aggressive.
Here's the thing though, right? Because we're starting to get to a stage where, hey, look, we're going, hey, Istanbul Wildcats, you're getting a lot of work done, you're getting the key carries fed, like when you look at this Tristana, but you are kind of looking at Guigo having those 2 items completed. He's now at threatened side. They have Tempo and Seren.
They go in, but he does not land the hook. The charm does go down. They're going to have a TP coming off the back of this. Is it going to be Grevtar around the side to try and maybe make this work with the Predator to Winds of War? Didn't actually clip him. It was just Aegis with his red buff able to pick up that kill, and this is so scrappy right now.
But these are great picks from Red Canids, right? You're looking at Baron because you know there's that big wave on bot side that's about to go over in towards the Nexus turrets, and Red have just been doing a phenomenal job of finding these picks, getting the tempo advantage back, and being able to play off multiple lanes and catching Istanbul Wildcats out.
And this is the big thing with the Umbral Glaive. You know you're not on vision. You know that there's no awards around you because you haven't procced it, so they are able to just keep rushing around. They could probably just take this. There's no way you can get in.
And remember what Quickshot said on the desk. Yes, Istanbul Wildcats have shown up so well on the international stage. They have been able to take down CB LOL continuously, but I mean, right now, Red Canids, they're looking pretty good right now.
They are looking solid at the moment. They are down on dragons, and in a minute and a half, we will have that objective up and available. This is just so close from Guigo. He almost lands the hook shot. You can see how close it gets, and that puts him in a bit of a bad spell.
Yeah, I mean, look, Guigo is in a bad spot, but I mean, Aegis we haven't really seen a huge amount from, but he's got damage with this lethality build. Winds of War just helps to finish him off with the red smite as well, and it's all over the place here for Red Canids. They have control of the map. Now they can start to control the wave states and keep sure that they can kind of collapse and keep playing the style that we've already seen with them playing off of 2 lanes. And I mean, they don't get the Baron, but vision control already in there for Istanbul Wildcats means that it's going to be a little bit more of a time for Red Canids before they can try and threaten that big objective.
Got time, 50 seconds till that dragon spawns. And again, for Istanbul Wildcats, they can choose not to fight. They could just go, look, give up 1. It's not a big deal. Let's try to get maybe a second or, sorry, excuse me, at this point of the game, a 3rd item onto some key carries. Yeah, I've got the Horizon focus now for Seren, so he's a pretty big threat right now. And again, Holy Phoenix, he is just accumulating wealth. If you're not quite sure what Tristana's passive is that with every level she gains more and more range, more and more safety, so you have to be able to try and shut her down as early as possible.
And that's why Red Canids are looking to shut this play down before Tristana can even get there, but not able to get the engage. They will get mid-priority, and look at the vision control that they have on this bot side of the map as well. It is completely dark for Istanbul Wildcats. They can't go and face check this.
No, they're going to have to try, though. You can see even with the invisibility, Jojo gets hooked up as he tries to make it engage. You've got Guigo going on the backside, but it's going to be a gold Farfetch to stop it. There's the Death Realm there, and you have no longer got a Camille, but you're in a little bit of a trouble here, Starscream. You're going to come back out into the real world, but just before he does, everyone piles in and he goes golden. It's a double kill for the Viego as they're starting to really ramp up this fight. They're getting the reset and they are are slaughtering the Red Cannons. It's a full clean ace for the Istanbul Wildcats, and that could just be the game.
It's Reset City, and Istanbul Wildcats are standing tall in the fight. 5 members still pushing in this mid lane, and I think you're right, Oshin. Look at the death timers. Istanbul Wildcats have done us.
All it takes is one good fight, and it was absolute perfection. The TCL continue to have a fantastic record in going up against the CV Law, and they will take down the Nexus and pick up their first win of MSI 2022.
And you could see how well Istanbul Wildcats were able to set themselves up in these fights. Starscream instantly ulting the Camille, taking away that combo that the entire Red Cannons were trying to work around with the Camille and the Galio. You end up picking off Guigo before he can really be a threat in these fights.
Went down.